What is going on, everybody? It is Fitzmiller and the 911 back here with another video. Start this video off by doing a complete walk around, very in-depth. Next up, later in the video, is going to be some of the flaws and a lot of my future plans that I want to do to this thing. To end it off, we have a bunch of sound clips, flybys, revs. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please be sure to watch it all the way through. Subscribe if you want to see more of this beautiful car. Let's get right into the video. This is my 2006 911 Carrera S in Guards Red. There's a couple different 911s. There's the 911 base Carrera, there's the 911 Carrera S, which that's what this is, and then beyond that it gets into the GT cars, the GT3, GT Touring I believe, and then a GT2 to top it off. Now this car obviously is not 100% stock. Starting on the outside with a few cosmetic mods, then we'll get into the interior and the performance and the rest of the video. These cars did come with a factory aero option. This car does not have any of the factory aero. In the rear, we have an OEM taco wing, the OEM GT3 wing. It is a very beautiful piece. I blame Ben. Ben's not Mercedes on Instagram and Twitter and shit. He has a 911, a 997.1, which is this car before the facelift, but his has the taco wing as well, which I fell in love with. Some other GT styling on this car in particular is the front bumper. So this is an OEM GT3 front bumper, which sports a little bit more of an aggressive front end. We have this vent here, so that's part of the GT3, different venting down below, and then as you've probably noticed so far, there's an aero kit going around the exterior of the car. Now this aero was black when I got it. I was not a huge fan of the black and knew I wanted it red as soon as I saw this thing pop up on Facebook Marketplace. Both the front lip, both of these side skirts, as well as this rear diffuser was black. And while it looked good to a lot of people, it did look like a race car. Yes, I am not going for a track car, race car look. I want this thing to be nice. I want it to be luxurious. I want to be pretty, you know what I'm saying? It is a Moss Hammer aero kit. Once again, the side skirts, the front lip, and then the rear diffuser. Looks really good on the car, especially since it's been paint matched red. You will notice it is not on the OEM wheels. These are some just like Fitment Industries boys. 911 specs are really hard to come by in wheels and such. They're also a really weird bolt pattern, so Porsche of course had to be different, and these are 5x130. This is going to be something like 18x12 in the rear plus 60, and then the front they generally rock around 18x9 plus 45 to 50 or so. So 911 specs are definitely really weird and definitely hard to come by, so I'm interested to see what I end up with in the future. For now, these do a great job. You'll also notice these sussy little mirror caps. This is next on the list of stuff to do, to take those off and just buff away the adhesive. The car also has stone guards, which they've grown on me a bit, I mustn't lie, but when the whole aero kit was black, it all kind of went together. Now that the black stone guard is like the only piece left other than the wheels, I don't know if I want to keep it or not, so we'll see. That would be one of the last things I take off if I end up doing so. This car in particular has 35,000 miles. There's also the 6-speed, the manual of course, and a lot of people refer to the 997.1s or the 997s as the last analog generation. This car is a dream and a half to drive. It is so pure, both inside and out and on the road as well. As you can see, it is definitely not stock, just beyond the aero. So it is lowered on Öhlins coilovers. I looked for a couple fully stock examples of these, but they're much more expensive and much less of a deal. Knowing that I wanted to get coilovers air in the future, this car ended up being perfect. It also has front and rear beefed up sway bars and sway bar end links. It is tuned by Eurowise in Charlotte. It was also meticulously maintained over the last 3 years. The IMS bearing is an issue with the 997s, although it affects less than 1% of these cars. While I knew that was a, decent size risk to take, I definitely didn't let it stop me from getting into one of these cars, more specifically with the maintenance history of this one in particular. As you can see, there is a little tint on the car. I'll probably end up doing 5% and 35-ish on the shield. I miss being invisible in my car, and it makes for a much more private experience. This is a sunroof car. I don't know if it slides back yet, to be honest. It does pop up just for a little bit of ventilation for the cabin. You'll also notice it has a custom fabbed exhaust. We'll get into a cold start here in a little bit, but this thing sounds so pure. It's almost a little too loud for me personally. I might want to slap a resonator on there there, get it dialed in just a little bit more. Sounds amazing nonetheless. That is about it for the exterior of the car. Let's go ahead and jump into the cabin of this thing and show you guys around. I knew I wanted a 911 at some point in my life. I obviously did not plan on totaling the R32 to get here, but you just gotta live with what you got, man. Live with what you got and where you're coming from. So the interior is possibly the best part of this car. Starting off on the interior, we have black leather Recaros from Germany, kind of a GT3 styled seat. They're very comfortable. They're like a leather and cloth mixture. They're very wide. They're very comfortable. I already drove this thing home from Charlotte, back to Charlotte and home for the wheel price meet. My ass cheeks feel absolutely wonderful in this thing. We do have some like sussy mats. A lot of people like these, a lot of people don't like these. It's kind of like an eBay mod in my opinion. I want to take these out and get some black OEM ones. The pedals are fine, whatever, they feel good. One major difference between the 997s and the 996s, the older generation, is the interior. So in the 997s, it comes with a much higher quality interior. So we have the black leather all the way throughout this thing, paired with the silver trim, and it's very, very comfortable in here. You've also probably noticed we have a half cage behind the seats. The rear seats are deleted, which I'm not a huge fan of. So is the OEM sub box that sits right there, right on that little shelf above the coils. All of that is going to be going back in, and I want to delete the harnesses so I can just use the stock seat belts. For being a two-door, this thing is both luxurious, sporty, and practical. That is one of the main reasons why I wanted to get a 911. I wanted to check all the boxes, dude. I wanted something cool, I wanted something sporty, I wanted something nice and practical as well. So this thing absolutely covers every single box. One of the coolest features of the 911, in my opinion, is going to be the cup holders. So they're very nice. They're much better than the E90 cup holders. So not only do you have two cup holders in the whipski, but you can also close the trim piece back up, which if you guys know me, know my OCD, this means a world and a half. Another cool little feature of the 911s, we have a very nice armrest here. Check this out. Bam! Who says you can't have practical storage in a two-door? A lot of people are gonna tell you that. Here is a better look at the cage and the harnesses. Once again, I mean, I'm kind of a fan of the cage, but I just want to be able to use my stock seat belts. Unfortunately, I can't, because with these seats, the stock seat belt clicker, the little red thing you push, did not get moved over with these seats, so that's unfortunate. But that's not the end of the world. We can always make a little bracket or something to use these stock seat belts. Here's the interior, dude. Very, very pretty. Beyond excited. And again, this is one of the other reasons why I wanted a 997 over the 996. Stock, it is great. With the buckets and a few upgrades, it feels even better. So here is the point of view of driving. We have beautiful, like alpine white gauge clusters. Once again, 35 thou on the dash. We have a Sony aftermarket head unit, which has been very nice, connect to Bluetooth and shit. And again, dude, these cup holders, absolutely love them. Bam, hidden, so nice. I don't know why other car manufacturers don't do that. They normally slap them right here behind the shifter, but what you gonna do? Stock shift knob, I'd love to upgrade to like an Alcantara BFI knob in the future, maybe a different wheel. Beautiful Alcantara or suede headliner. You already know, Midnight Organic Orange Flavor Flav air freshener, and then shout out Max for the Psycho Fang air freshener as well. Another cool little piece in all of the 911s, all the 997s, there comes a little track timer. This one is analog and it oscillates, which why not, honestly. Cool little feature. Definitely nothing crazy on the interior, just feels very nice. It is very roomy, fit in here just fine. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Let's head up and show you guys the frunk. I know you guys are dying to see the frunk. Let me show you that. Don't be fooled, guys. This is literally just a Volkswagen Bug, okay? You mustn't be fooled. All right, for the frunk, this is what our storage space is looking like. When I got the car, a little side note, this trim was out and the stock bottom trim was out. Put that back in. Unfortunately, these pieces did not come with the car. A lot of the stock stuff did. The back seats, the speaker, all of that stuff did. But like I said, it's not perfect and there's some more I have to do. But here's the frunk. This is where the future air setup might go. Fits plenty of luggage and there's a ton of room behind the seats, believe it or not. So very comfortable taking this thing to GAT. Definitely don't need a roof box or anything crazy. That would be an option that I don't want. Frunk, pretty standard, carpeted. Let's go ahead and show you guys the motor. Now, you can't really see a whole lot. Back here, here she is, dude, the heart of the beast. 3.8 liters of pure joy. So with the GT3 deck lids, this rear trunk, the deck lid, the stock exhaust fan and little intake port are switched. So on the regular 997s, these are swapped, and then the stock intake comes out and goes to the left. With the GT3 deck lid conversion, he swapped the air filter over. K&N, I know, what you gonna do about it? But it keeps the car just as functional as it was before. It looks like a lot back here, looks pretty crammed, but these cars are very easy to work on. As far as reliability goes, on Porsches 997.1s in particular, there are two major things you have to watch out for. There's the intermediate shaft bearing, which can be anything from a noise, maybe not even happen, to if it explodes, you're gonna need a new motor. Beyond that is bore scoring, which just change your oil. Literally just change your oil on time or ahead of time and you're not gonna have any problems with that. They say not to let these idle too much, so just baby it, you know, maybe let it warm up for a minute or two max. Keep it at low RPMs when you're driving. Other than that, dude, tires, brakes, oil changes. I've done so much research about these cars over the last couple of months. I found a couple over 300,000 miles. They look like a Honda with 150 on it. These cars will definitely go the extra mile if you take care of them. Of course, you guys know I'm gonna be meticulous as fuck trying to take care of this thing. All right, let's get a cold start and take this thing out. I'm sure you guys have been dying. I mean, that sounds so pure, dude. I'm gonna let it warm up for just a minute and then give you guys a couple revs. Did you guys know red cars are the #1 ticketed car? Red cars get ticketed the most out of any other car. I don't push it. Chill, speed limit, we'll be all right. Let's take this thing out for a little rip, some flybys, a little bit more exhaust, and give you guys an interior look at this thing while we're driving. Your boy is not used to having a lot of amenities. Heat, AC, more than one speaker. It's crazy. It's crazy. I should mention how grateful I am to have this thing, dude. I'll make another video on how this car worked out or how I got into one and how you guys can too. Harnesses, if you guys ever wear harnesses, make sure to do the lap belt, the bottom belt first, and almost uncomfortably tight. Otherwise, if you get into an accident wearing harnesses, you will slide under the harness, kind of forward into it, under it, and you can get like paralyzed. You can mess up your spine. No bueno. Gotta pause my music. I know Lucky gonna be blasting when we turn this hoe on. All right, well, let's see if I can get out of this lot without destroying my lip. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The #1 way I can describe driving this car, both in the handling, in the throttle response, maybe other than the suspension. The suspension's a little stiff. There's a cop, I'm gonna chill. This is definitely an entrance ramp car, dude. That's the best way I can explain it. It's an entrance ramp car that has a 6th gear. It's amazing. It's a little high. It's at like 2,800 at 70 miles an hour. but it feels very, very good. It's kind of like the bike, dude. At 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, this car just feels like it's walking. Like, it just feels so effortless. With the NA power that this thing has compared to the R32, for example, it is just instant, pure power all the way through, all the way to the top of the RPMs. Now, this car doesn't rev very high, so that is something I miss about the RBs. SR world, you know, they rev to the moon. The flat 6, I think it's a M96. I don't remember the motor designation, but the flat 6 red line's at about 8,000, but the true red line is like 7,500. So nothing too crazy. This is very much a momentum car. So from the factory, it probably makes 350, at least way back in 2006. With it being tuned, I'm gonna guess 365, 375. Not a whole lot of power. In the turns, on an entrance ramp, on an exit ramp, this thing is just so pure to drive. Every part of this car that I touch, that I look at, that I experience, feels so pure. If you guys have not driven a 911, very much would recommend that you go and do so. While we're in the car, I'm gonna take a minute to talk to you guys about some of the car's flaws and what I want to do to it in the future. Starting off, having the Recaros in here is great, but unfortunately, there's an airbag light for that reason, since these stock seats had airbags in them. So that is something I'll have to get tuned out. Dealerships can't do it because it's in the safety realm of things. Also, from swapping over the deck lid to the GT3 deck lid, this one beeps at me when I hit 75, because that's when the OEM little wing, the OEM arrow would pop up, and obviously that's not there, and the car thinks something's wrong. But physically, mechanically, this thing is in great condition. Other than getting a couple more things paint matched, getting this thing a nice buff and a polish, we then get into more cosmetics. There's nothing I want to do to this thing. Performance-wise, it has everything that I would do to it, or even consider. Number one, get rid of the harnesses. I'm gonna want some wheels. I've thought of everything from Futuras to BBS RSs, Regamasters, Rotiforms, so I don't quite know what I'll end up with. I don't want a track look. You know, TEs would be baller as hell, but I just don't want a track looking setup. I want a meaty, half stance, sporty, but nice looking car, if that makes any sense. Tint I already talked about, but I want to do 5% with something a little bit more modest, 35, 20 maybe on the shield. Beyond that, it gets into smaller or minuscule things. So I want to do all interior LEDs, tone down the exhaust a little bit, put some black OEM floor mats in here, put in the rear seats, put in the sub. I have a dash cam waiting at the house. You guys already know, not fucking around with that anymore. We're not taking a chance. So the dash cam's already at the house, and whenever I get that installed, I'd like to do an 8-inch sub under each seat. I want this thing to be absolutely bumping, like ignorant. I gotta fix a couple of those panels in the front, get the replacements for them. I wanna get puddle lights in the future instead of like underglow. And that's about it, dude. I am very grateful this car doesn't need anything, all of the stuff I want for the car, but I'm very excited to see what comes of this car in the future and really make it mine. It does feel like the last owner's car, that, and it just hasn't set in that it's my car yet. I'm really excited to see what I can make of this absolute machine in the future. Hello. guys so much for watching today's video. I am very grateful that this car worked out. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys for watching today's video. Once again, if you like today's video, be sure to subscribe. If you'd like to see more, be sure to subscribe. And check me out on Instagram. That'll be linked down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.